Kendrick Lamar and SZA, high-voltage preachers at the Olympic Stadium. The two American artists showcase the unconventional hip-hop of the Grand National Tour. The air in Barcelona crackled with anticipation, a humid summer night where the city's pulse seemed to beat in time with the hearts of thousands gathered outside the Palau Sant Jordi. The streets were a sea of bodies, a vibrant mosaic of Kendrick Lamar and SZA fans stretching far beyond the stadium's glowing lights. They spilled onto the sidewalks, their voices rising in a collective hum, chants, laughter, and the occasional freestyle breaking through the din. It wasn't just a concert, it was a pilgrimage. The energy was raw, unfiltered, like the city itself had been waiting for this moment, holding its breath for Kendrick to step onto its stage. Welcome to celebrity rap life, where the red carpets never roll up and the spotlight never fades. The rewards are legendary. Because in celebrity rap life, every downfall can become a comeback, and every headline tells a deeper story. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a second of what's coming next. Inside a sleek black GNX parked just beyond the barricades, Kendrick Lamar sat quietly, his silhouette barely visible through the tinted windows. The bass from the pre-show music vibrated faintly through the car, a distant echo of the chaos outside. He adjusted his cap, tilting it slightly to the side, his fingers tracing the brim as he took a deep breath. His team buzzed around him, but Kendrick's focus was elsewhere, on the crowd, on the weight of their expectation, on the history he was about to write in this city. Barcelona wasn't just another stop on the tour. It was a statement. The doors of the GNX swung open, and the roar hit him like a tidal wave. Thousands of voices erupted as Kendrick stepped out, his black hoodie and fitted jeans blending into the night but his presence undeniable. Fans pressed against the barriers, phones raised like torches, capturing every second of his arrival. Kendrick! Kendrick! The chant started small, a spark in the crowd, then spread like wildfire. He raised a hand, acknowledging them with a nod, his eyes scanning the faces, some tear-streaked, some screaming lyrics from albums that had soundtracked their lives. He didn't rush. He let the moment breathe, let the crowd's energy wash over him. Security carved a path through the throng, but the fans were relentless, their hands reaching out, their voices weaving together in a melody that felt almost sacred. As Kendrick approached the stadium's entrance, the crowd broke into a chant that wasn't his music but something older, something Barcelona owned, the famous soccer chant, Ole, Ole, Ole. It was a nod to their city's pride, a fusion of cultures that sent chills through everyone watching. Kendrick paused, turning to face them, a smile breaking across his face. He raised both hands, palms up, as if to say, I hear you. The crowd roared louder, the chant morphing into a hybrid of soccer tradition and hip-hop reverence. Inside the Palau Sant Jordi, the atmosphere was electric. The lights dimmed, and the opening notes of SZA's set filled the air, her voice a velvet wave that pulled the audience in. She glided across the stage, her flow effortless, her presence magnetic. The crowd swayed, sang, and lost themselves in her melodies, but there was an undercurrent of anticipation. Everyone knew who was coming next. SZA, ever the collaborator, leaned into the moment, teasing the crowd with a smile. "Y'all ready for something special tonight?" she asked, her voice dripping with mischief. The response was deafening. When Kendrick finally took the stage, the arena exploded. The beat of Humble hit like a thunderclap, and the crowd matched his energy bar for bar, their voices shaking the rafters. Kendrick was a force, his movements sharp, his delivery sharper. He didn't just perform, he commanded. Every lyric felt like a conversation, every pause a challenge to the audience to keep up. "Sit down, be humble," he rapped, and the crowd shouted it back, their hands slicing through the air in sync with his rhythm. Midway through the set, the mood shifted. The lights softened, and Kendrick slowed the tempo, stepping to the edge of the stage. "I want the credit if I'm losing, or I'm winning," he said, his voice raw, unamplified for a moment, quoting a line that felt like a confession. "On my mama, that's the realest shit." The arena fell silent, hanging on his words. It wasn't just a lyric, it was a declaration of his truth, his journey, his refusal to be anything less than authentic. The crowd absorbed it, some nodding, some whispering the line to themselves, as if it were a mantra they'd carry beyond the night. Then came Peekaboo. The beat dropped, heavy and hypnotic, and Kendrick slipped into SZA's verse with a precision that felt like a blade. His flow was relentless, each word carving into the air, and the crowd was right there with him, their energy a mirror to his intensity. A group of fans near the front held up a handmade sign, "Barcelona loves K. He caught sight of it, pointed their way, and the section erupted, their screams drowning out the bass for a moment. It was a dialogue, not a performance. Kendrick feeding off the crowd feeding off him. The setlist was a journey through his catalog, each song a chapter in a story that Barcelona was now part of. When Gloria came on, Kendrick turned his fitted cap forward, a small gesture that felt monumental in the context of the night. The crowd noticed, their cheers spiking as he leaned into the song's introspective verses. The stage lights bathed him in gold, and for a moment, he looked less like a performer and more like a poet, his words painting pictures of struggle, triumph, and redemption. The audience was spellbound, their phones lowered, their eyes locked on him. As the show neared its climax, Kendrick brought the energy back up with, "All right." The arena became a sea of raised fists and swaying bodies, the chorus a collective affirmation, "We gon' be all right." Strangers hugged, tears streamed down faces, and for those few minutes, the world outside the Palau Sant Jordi didn't exist. It was just Kendrick, the music, and the thousands of souls united by it. When the final note faded, the crowd didn't stop. They chanted his name, "Kendrick, Kendrick, Kendrick," a rhythmic pulse that felt like it could go on forever. He stood at the center of the stage, soaking it in, his chest rising and falling as he caught his breath. Then he bowed, and the standing ovation shook the arena. The show ended, but the night was far from over. Outside, the streets of Barcelona were alive with the afterglow of the concert. Fans poured out of the stadium, their voices carrying the energy of the performance into the night. A group gathered near the main entrance, singing "Not Like Us" in unison, their voices echoing off the concrete. The melody was infectious, drawing in more fans, until it felt like half the city was part of the impromptu choir. Then, from somewhere in the crowd, a saxophone wailed to life. A street musician, caught up in the moment, had joined in, his notes weaving through the lyrics like a tribute to the city's soul. He played "Luther," a nod to Kendrick's influences, and the crowd went wild, clapping and dancing as the music carried them into the early hours. The celebration spilled into the bars and cafes lining the streets, where fans swapped stories of the night. A young woman in a Kendrick t-shirt recounted how she'd traveled from Madrid just for the show, her voice hoarse from screaming. A local couple debated their favorite moment, her, the raw vulnerability of Gloria, him, the ferocity of Peekaboo. Strangers became friends, bonded by the shared experience of witnessing something transcendent. Even the bartenders, used to the city's endless stream of tourists, couldn't help but smile at the infectious joy. Backstage, Kendrick was quieter now, sitting with his team as the adrenaline faded. He scrolled through his phone, watching videos fans had already posted online, clips of the soccer chant, the standing ovation, the saxophone player outside. He laughed softly, shaking his head. "Barcelona got heart," he said to no one in particular. His manager nodded, but Kendrick's mind was already elsewhere, replaying the night, the crowd, the connection. He'd performed in cities all over the world, but this one felt different. It wasn't just about the music, it was about the stories, the people, the way they'd claimed him as one of their own. The next morning, Barcelona woke up still buzzing. Social media was flooded with posts about the concert, fans sharing blurry photos and heartfelt captions. "Kendrick made me feel seen," one wrote. "Last night was church," said another. Local news outlets picked up the story, calling it one of the most electrifying shows the city had ever seen. The saxophone player became a minor celebrity, his performance outside the stadium racking up thousands of views online. Even the city's soccer fans, usually loyal to their sport above all, tipped their hats to Kendrick's ability to command a crowd with the same intensity as a winning goal at Camp Nou. For Kendrick, the night in Barcelona was a reminder of why he did this. Not for the fame or the money, but for the moments when his words became a bridge, connecting him to thousands of strangers who felt his truth in their bones. He'd given them everything, his heart, his pain, his victories, and they'd given it back tenfold. As his plane took off the next day, he looked out over the city, its spires and rooftops fading into the distance. He didn't know when he'd be back, but he knew Barcelona would never forget him. And he'd never forget them. The fans, too, carried the night with them. For some, it was a memory to hold on to during tough days, a reminder that they weren't alone. For others, it was a spark, a push to chase their own dreams with the same fearlessness Kendrick brought to the stage. The city itself seemed changed, as if the music had left an imprint on its streets, its people, its very air. Barcelona had spoken, and its voice was one of love, resilience, and unapologetic joy. The celebration wasn't just a moment, it was a movement, one that would echo long after the final note had faded. This story is far from over, and the truth is still unfolding. I want to hear what you think. Drop your take in the comments. And if you don't want to miss the next twist, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a second of what's coming next.